Picking up steam? Hi, I'm Debbie. After years of pundits talking about decline and gloomy about its direction, is dancehall enjoying a moment? ER getting some informed feedback.
Cartel at the Barclays, back-to-back sold-out shows, and visas restored to two dancehall giants. Signs perhaps of dancehall picking up steam after an extended slowdown, overshadowed by Afrobeats and diluted by trap rhythms. Its biggest names either doing time or denied entry to the US, but now mending fences and filling venues, opening doors perhaps to a younger generation of toasters in search of a bigger stage. Is dancehall having a moment, a return to form, and are others poised to ride the wave? We put those questions to Reggae Studies Professor Donna Hope, media consultant Clyde McKenzie, and World Music Views J.R. Watkins.
Yes, it is having a good moment, a great moment. There's a lot of upswing in dancehall right now.
Why?
Because we see some of our artists, Vybz Kartel, doing great things, filling the Barclays Center, so 19,000 capacity, filling Barclays Center 2 nights in a row. We see Alkaline also doing something similar in London. Spice has been out there for a long time, Shensia, other people. But I think Vybz Kartel coming back has put a lot of energy inside the dancehall, a lot of attention to dancehall and pulling dancehall stars. Plus, people got visas to travel, many of them who were not able to travel before. Cartel's first show, a lot of us went because it is a historical moment. Buju Banton's first show, you go because it's a historical moment. So Bounty Killer and Beenie Man going to the US and outside of Jamaica, many people are going to go because they're going to want to say, I was at the first show that Bounty Killer did or Beenie Man did in New York, in Florida. The excitement sells it.
Is there a cartel effect in operation?
Not just a cartel effect. I saw something happen at the cartel show, which may be a spin-off of him. A lot of the new acts, Valiant, Skeng, Shensia, they had a big cheer when their songs were played at the Barclays Arena. And I think TikTok is having that effect with the music. Because these songs aren't being played on the radio on Hot 97, Power 105, but people are singing their songs word for word in places like New York, Miami, LA, all the diaspora hotspots. These songs are popular. And that might be why there's a resurgence and an interest in the young dancehall artists especially.
There is a sense, though, that the youngsters are riding on the coattails of the older guys to get some attention.
Everybody's riding on everybody's coattail. Cartel is riding on Bounty Killer's coattail. Bounty riding on Shabba's coattail. That's the maturation of dancehall. It moves on and a new generation exists and they're here and they're making an impact.
The older DJs are going out of their way to introduce some of the youngsters?
I don't know that they're going out of their way, but the youngsters are definitely benefiting from Cartel's popularity, not just in America, in the UK, because a lot of them sound like him and they're doing similar music.
The youngsters have a lot of catching up to do.
It's because of catalogs. People love who they love in their heyday. They love Barry Salmon because Barry Salmon has a long catalog. They love Buju Banton. They love Vybz Kartel. They love Bounty Killer. But these artists aren't necessarily streaming, It's just the live shows that people love to get the experience because these artists sell nostalgia for them.
In the audience, you had so many hip-hop artists and big-name mainstream acts supporting Vybz Kartel and Buju Banton. And I think this is a good sign. Now, what we do with that kind of opportunity is something that is still up for debate. Both Buju and Kartel have been out of circulation for quite a while. That pent-up demand, I think, was part of the reason why you had this massive turnout for both of them. Other acts such as Beenie Man and Bounty Killer have now been able to get back their visas, and as a result of that, they are now able to perform in these markets, which they were not able to do for quite a while. Now we need to see exactly what will result from that. But the buzz is that the music is having a renaissance. And some will argue that it is really a sign of how resilient the music of the 90s happened to be. I think dancehall is dancehall, and there is clear indication that the interest in dancehall is still there.
Looking behind what we already know, what do you think is pushing this movement that's put some wind in dancehall sales? So
there's a push factor from Jamaica, but there's also a pull factor outside of Jamaica, where you find that there's a lot of interest in dancehall right now from places like the UK. When you look at some of the series coming out of the UK, Top Boy, Champion, a lot of these series on Netflix and elsewhere, a lot of dancehall music is in them. A lot of things came together, I think, especially in 2024. You saw the excitement, for example, around the last Grammy Awards, where there was a toss-up, there was Vybz Kartel, there was Shenseea. We were all looking to see who would take home the Grammy. There's a lot of energy around using dancehall in different ways in the culture. So fashion, a lot of people are interested in the dancehall dance. So all of these things are coming together in a very big way. And I think, honestly, in Jamaica, there's a certain maturity around how we respond to dancehall culture. Particularly, I think, because people are concerned about the much younger generation in dancehall and are turning back to look at the ones who came before and finding a lot of interest in what they have put out and are putting out.
There is the perception that rhythmically we've gone astray, and that was a big part of the narrative about whether dancehall was really in a slump or not. I think the injection of the energy of the cartel and the Buju Banton has helped the overall perception of the music. These younger acts should try to get by with a little help from their friends, their older colleagues, because that is one way of really making the industry more robust. Youngsters will have to understand that, look, it is to the benefit of the industry if you can collaborate with your elders. And the elders need to understand that it will be beneficial to the overall growth of the industry to mentor people. That is what we need to be looking at. How do we grow the market?
If there's a sense that things are happening again in dancehall, shouldn't that be coming from younger people?
Well, I find that younger people are, many times I tell you, are talking to themselves. So the younger people seem to be spending a lot of time talking to themselves and speaking back to themselves in their little groups. They're on social media. You self-curate yourself into reality. So you put up your camera, you video yourself, and you talk to yourself. A lot of that is happening with what some of our younger artists seem to be doing. They have a lot of followers on social media. There's a lot of excitement on TikTok, but it doesn't translate into something beyond that small circle that is theirs. Their little concerts, they get enough people coming there, but it doesn't go into big sales and big plays on the radio. And I don't get the impression that they're interested in that very much.
People who like that sound, how do they get these people to a broader audience? How does that leap take place?
Well, you know, Anthony, our artists who came from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, or in dancehall, these artists, and the early 2000s, these artists were driven by passion, energy, and a desire to succeed. They wanted to succeed and come out of poverty, come out of obscurity. I don't find so much of that coming from the younger artists. They are, you know, they have their music out, they are enjoying their attention, but they don't seem to have that hunger and that drive and that deep desire to win at all costs. You're not hearing it coming out as much.
I guess some people are looking for the new school, but you still have to count on the older DJs to actually deliver the goods in those overseas markets?
Yes, Anthony, and I think one of the things I find happening is that, and I don't think it's nostalgia, I think that the time has come now, 2025, where that dancehall from the, you know, the 90s dancehall is very big now, the sound of the 90s, the golden age of dancehall, but also dancehall of the early 2000s, many people who are in that era enjoying the music are of age. They are making a lot of decisions. They are opening doors, and people are enjoying that music now because it is made more visible. It's much more accessible with social media and the internet, and people are given an opportunity as well to see and hear face-to-face some of these artists who are not able to fly for a long time. They're seeing them now and they're recovering and they are responding to them. The younger people are just having fun amongst themselves. That's the impression I'm getting.
Everything we do a lifestyle.
Why aren't the youngsters making a mark with the overseas audience?
Bob Marley didn't hit on day one. It took a while. Bob Marley's first album with Island Records, Catch a Fire, Chris Blackwell said it flopped. It sold 14,000 units the first year, but he kept at it. Reggae is a long sell. Buju just sold gold 25 years after the release of Till Shiloh. What a massive album, just sold 500,000 in the US. So reggae is a long sell, dancehall is also a long sell. And give them a chance. They'll prove their weight, just like Cartel is now proving his weight. I remember them cussing Cartel and saying he's dropping too many songs, he's mashing up the business. Those same songs Cartel was dropping twice a week, that's what he's benefiting from now as the big dancehall superstar.
Increasingly, it doesn't matter whether you're on Billboard or you're on the Grammys. All of those things are not as important to an artist anymore. What they are interested in is, do they have a following? And they can do their promotion online, and they are able to track their niches and know where they're strong, and they go there and they're able to sustain themselves, not in the way that the Sean Pauls and the Shaggies were able to do 20 years ago. Every time we have a problem, we blame it on quality. I don't want to be engaged in that kind of discussion. I think that Jamaican music, given just its flavor, given the character of Jamaica and its people, will always have a special place in the international marketplace.
So it's a waiting game.
It is a waiting game.
Dancehall of the 80s, 90s, early 2000s is Jamaican and hardcore and unique, and it has the different elements in it, you know, gal tune, girl tune, gun tune, pain tune, poverty tune, hungry, all of that thing. So the formula is there. Speaking about the ghetto garrison and the gun and the gal and the gully and the Gaza and all of these things, the formula is always there, and using Jamaican language and the sound. That sound has to be there, that pulls on the bass, pulls on Jamaicanness, and people feel it. If you don't have that, you become a part of the bigger pool of world music.
But you say they're talking to each other. They don't care about, what other people's concerns are, or, whether they sound old school enough or, authentically Jamaican enough. They don't business. They're doing something new.
And why should they care, Anthony? Many of them are on shows, they are traveling, and they are, being seen, and they're making money. Why should they care? Because a lot of what is happening today is that the main focus I find, a lot of people go into the creative industries, not just the music, is about making money. They have fans on TikTok and Instagram and elsewhere that are rave for them. They are doing well, and that's all that they want. Vybz Kartel is going to be all over Europe this summer. A lot of other artists are going to be there. So it's a lot of interest now in Jamaican dancehall than there was before, because there seems to be, as you put it, a moment, I say a resurgence of interest. It is going to carry it somewhere far, and I hope that some of the young guns who are in the music now will see this as a part of their own cry to come and launch themselves to the next level. It's very important.
I guess the question is, how do they do that?
You have to think about that. Stop roll tape.
Dancehall can't stall. Dancehall can't stall.